Dr. Morse, and man, 40 plus years of experience doing this. There's no way that this interview could be long enough to talk about everything that I would want to talk about. So I'm just going to start off with this.
Okay.
In your plus 40 years, how many times have you seen somebody come to you with horrible symptoms and they reverse those symptoms?
Can I say every day?
You sure can.
Every day. Every day. I tell you, we only lose a few, and those are those most involved where they've had the chemo, the radiations, and they just let years of that damage pile up on them.
Yeah.
Most of those we can save, but there's just one or two people once in a while just too far involved. But I've never seen anything that you couldn't cure, that you couldn't rebuild any tissue anywhere. Yeah. It's a lot of work for some people, it really is. But we've demonstrated this for years, the total regeneration of the human body. Yeah. From bringing quads out of chairs, you've seen MS people walking again, you've seen all that, and that's what we do. We go in and rebuild the human body. It's simple, everyone can learn it. It's not difficult, as you see. Yeah, absolutely.
And the lymphatic system playing a huge role. Why does the mainstream not know about the lymphatic system? Why is everyone not trained in it? Why aren't we concentrating on the lymphatic system?
That's a question I've looked at for a lot of years, because allopathically you would assume this is the one system they would know.
Yeah.
The Mayo brothers made a comment one time at the Mayo Clinic, made a comment to something to the effect that medical diagnosis or practice is only 25% accurate. And if you look at interstitial fluid, that's the fluid that flows around your cells, 25% blood. The rest of it is that interstitial lymphatic fluid. And that deals with the corrosive side of chemistry, see, and it's the corrosive acid side of chemistry that breaks you down. It's the same chemistry that breaks down car paints, statutes, the same kind of chemistry LA is dealing with causing lung cancer. It's all the acid side of chemistry. Yeah. When it's inside, it creates inflammation or acidosis, and then the breakdown of the cell eventually.
Okay.
And you have to remove that to get well.
Now, explain to my viewers, please, how important fruit is. Because, everyone's kind of conditioned fruits and veggies, fruits and veggies, fruits and veggies. How important is fruit versus veggies?
I think fruit should be probably 75% of your diet and vegetables 25%. If you're have serious tumors, cancers, pain, like arthritis, you name it, you got to go about 100% fruits, berries, and melons for a few months, maybe even up to 6 months to get this out of you. Yeah. And the reason is fruits, one, have the highest energetic principles, but they have the highest astringents. So they not only turn on your electrical system, which helps everything move better, but it also is astringent on you. So it helps to clean the kidneys, helps to move that lymph astringently. And then being high base chemistry, it helps to bring a balance to the acid side, creating hydration, and everybody's on board.
And they taste great.
And they taste great too. Good organic ones.
Right. Now, what about the theory that we, human beings, that we are frugivores?
Yeah. I believe that. Well, of all the species, there's no question, and I spent a few years, as you know, analyzing the anatomy and physiology of all the vertebrates. The four basic ones, of course, is the omnivores, which is your dogs, hogs, chickens, and bears. Your carnivores is your cats. Your herbivores, which is your vegetable eaters, are your horses, your elephants, your rhinoceroses, your giraffes. But what species do we look the closest? Primates. Absolutely. There's no question. That's on the outside and especially on the inside. Yeah. We're frugivores. And when we eat them, we think better, we feel better, we clean better, everything's better. We just don't eat enough of them because we're out of the tropical zone.
Right.
But doing that has created all our health problems.
So should we be living in Costa Rica, in Florida? Should we be living in California?
Basically.
Not Vermont.
Well, the thing is, a lot of good Vermonting, no problem. I love Vermont. However, hostile to human health in terms of maintaining health, because it's a high alkaline environment, making you go to the acid side of the food chain. Well, that's the protein side. High protein destroys kidney tissue, gut tissue, creates high acidosis, and now we start having our problems. Because as you know, the kidneys control your gigantic sewer system. And people have to understand your lymph system is the body's sewer system.
So what about these guys that go to the gym and they're real diesel? I mean they're in shape, they can run, they can lift, but they're
for a while. And then they come into me and they're heading toward dialysis because that high protein take lost their kidneys. every time. I see it in pro athletes. They come to me all the time, full of RA, rheumatoid arthritis, full of all this acidosis. And of course, the word for acidosis is inflammation. So when you look at that and you understand that, there's a wrong way to do it. And we're just talking to people in there, of course, about how they're getting stronger on the fruits. After they start cleaning out and everybody's clean, then they start building. Yeah. But it's a strength, like a monkey. We're talking how a little monkey can rip a human apart. Yeah. You get a human on raw, that's not going to happen.
Right.
See, but we don't eat raw foods. We don't eat our foods as nature gives it to us. We say, thanks God for making that nice apple, but I like apple pie better. No. We got to start eating food as nature gives it to us. We don't have to cook it anymore. It's already been prepared. Yeah. When we cook it, kills it.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. The fire of death.
Fire of death, exactly. It's nice
a Scene Gospel of Peace.
Nice to be warm. Yeah, a Scene Gospel of Peace. Absolutely. Right. I love the Scene Gospel of Peace.
It's a good book. Now, now you've done a lot of experimental things with your diet throughout the years, and at one point you were a fruitarian as well, correct?
Fruitarian at one time. I was a fruitarian, then I was a vegan. Now I'm kind of like about 80% raw and 20% cooked. Okay. And I think I looked at my life as going through all the stressors. I fight governmental corruption and everything else. And so some of the stressors can take you away from being perfect because it's not built in our psychic yet. Yeah. We're taught to eat cooked foods and everything else. So when you're emotionally distraught, you go find some sucre. Well, generally sucre is a candy bar. Or sucre is something that you're used to eating and makes you feel good. And it might not even be good for you. Mama cooked it, and you just went back to that mama flavor, gave you that reassurance.
Now, you did the oranges, right?
I did the oranges 6 months.
6 months on nothing but oranges.
Nothing but oranges.
You can take a picture of somebody's eyes and see so much. So explain to the viewers what that process is.
Well, there was a surgeon back in 1853 that discovered that through the fibers in the iris, you could tell the strength or weakness of the cells in your bodies, what tissues were involved, whether it's the liver or pancreas or bowels. You could see your lymphatic system, which is the sewer system of the human body, and all the pain and acids come in that system. And you could see your nervous system. You could see almost the whole body from the eyes. And it works all through the nervous system. And the nervous system is the communication network to the central nervous system or the brain. Right. So when you have a problem in your body, that problem is translated through the nervous system in full living color. And then your eyes will change to adapt to that. And we learned how to read the eyes. And this surgeon discovered the best thing an allopath has ever done was to discover iridology, because now we can look and see where you have that pain. We can see where you're suffering, and we see why you're suffering, which no CAT scan, MRI can do that in most people. You have to have a tumor before you can really see something.
Wow. That's incredible stuff.
Incredible to see that.
Yeah. How much longer do you plan on practicing? I mean, 40 plus years is a long time. When did you start?
Well,
20?
Jensen was 75 years in the field, and he was a personal friend. So most of us healers will always be there at one level or another, Right. I would like to retire myself. Yeah. That's why I'm training all you guys. Are you kidding?
And that's another good segue, because this seems to be like kind of your mortal mission. It's like you're spawning off. I call it the ripple effect.
We are. Well, we have to change the consciousness on the planet. The allopaths are out of control. They're hurting way too many people. All these babies are dying. There's no remedy for treatment-based thinkers. So we have to move from treatment-based thinking to causative thinking. Yeah. What's causing your tumors? What's causing your pain? And address that. And that's what you're learning here, is how you address the cause of your problems physically, emotionally, and mentally. And then, of course, we're throwing in that twist of how you go beyond all these into the higher planes. And
why can't we use certain words? I'm a holistic health coach myself.
Good.
Why can't we say certain things without some governmental agency coming knocking and ripping us out of our house?
Well, I think one of the things is, and this is why I said in there, you have to let go of the concept of diseases. It's a fallacy. It's a ridiculous concept. Symptoms, absolutely. And this whole consciousness of diseases. So what the medical doctors have done is, if you treat diseases, you're practicing our field without a license. So the best thing you can do is realize that's fallacy anyway. That's illusion. And that your best bet is to understand what's really causing the problem from a chemistry perspective. Actually, what's causing these problems, very simple, and how you find remedy to cure these problems. So they don't like you to touch diseases because they own that. They can have it. Let them have it. Don't treat diseases, because you'll never cure anybody, you'll never find remedy, and you'll lose the idea of what's causing my problems.
Right on. So I'm a green juice guy. I'm all right with my green juice?
You're all right. But good orange juice. Good orange juice, grape juice, watermelon. Get into your fruits and your berries and your melons. There's where all the flavor are. You can take a piece of, say, broccoli or a piece of lettuce, as opposed to a ripe navel orange or a good ripe watermelon. Which tastes better?
Oh, well, what about the people that come knocking and say, "Wait, that's too much sugar. Sugar causes this and sugar causes that." What's your rebuttal to the sugar myth?
The sugar myth. The sugar myth is simple: is that fruits and vegetables are simple sugar. That is the fuel that mixes with oxygen to make your cell energy. And one has to understand that our body works like a car. We have a carburetor where we pull in oxygen, and we need carbon, which is gasoline, as fuel to mix with oxygen. And that's just what we do. We mix sugar, which is carbon, and we mix that with oxygen to get our energy. That's essential. And so man's just talking, when he talks sugar, man immediately thinks of starch. And starch is too much sugar, as protein is too much amino acids. Right. We're a simple human. We don't deal with proteins well. We don't deal with starches or fats well. Right. It's what we just got through talking about in there. Simplicity is always better in the human being.
All right, very cool. Dr. Morse, I really appreciate your time. How can they get a hold of you?
Look up the website, Nature's Botanical Pharmacy. If you want to enjoy about 800 videos, get on YouTube, Robert Morse ND.
Hello from Florida. I am with the great Dr. Robert Morse today, one of my good friends and favorite all-time teachers, a mentor for me and has been for several years now. I wanted to come in and talk to you about this new paradigm, this shift that's happening. We're going from a symptom medical-based thinking to a healing, taking back your power, your spirituality, your sovereignty, your ability to heal. And at this time also, Robert Morse is helping the world by educating a lot of teachers, a lot of helpers, a lot of detox specialists. I want you to tell us a little bit, Robert, about what you're doing in that sense, about your school and who's out there to help.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, healing has always been simple. Man's mind, though, has gotten so intellectual that he keeps getting lost deeper and deeper into a world of the fabricated concept of diseases. So then they don't know how to cure them. They've made them up. They've given a set of symptoms a name, and they just don't know where they're coming from. And that's sad. Because of that unconsciousness that we have in allopathy, then we have major destruction of humans. And so the new wave you're talking about is understanding simple chemistry, simple physics, the fact that people have been eating dead animal meat, drinking lots of their milks, and cooking their foods. Major problem with all that. And we call it food sources, but by the time you destroy your foods, either by processing or cooking, it's not really a food anymore.
No, it isn't.
So this renaissance, this growth, has been going on silently. There's been different levels of this, from the natural hygienic movement, the fasting of water fasting and stuff, and having clinics and stuff. I just kicked it up another notch. I went to the fruitarian level because that's the level man is. He's a frugivore. And I added the botanical side of that. And when you add those two to the process of detoxification, because when you think about how do you get well, you first have to understand what made you sick. If you live in the world of diseases, and that concept, which is just it's a concept, it's a fabrication, it's a theory. And so as long as you play with theories, remember the world was flat, was a theory at one time, and scientifically everybody bought into it. If you didn't go along with them, you were killed, you know, that sort of thing. So we're seeing the same dark agey kind of consciousness with the medical community right now. The treatment of body symptoms by pharmaceuticals, which you learned how bad that was.
Yes.
So this whole new paradigm is understanding the cause of your problems, how you're creating that, and how you unwind that.
And that everything just is an obstruction
And
at every level.
exactly.
And that
At
everything
every
is
level.
energy.
Exactly.
At every level.
At every level.
Food,
Foods,
thoughts,
everything. Yep.
Everything.
In other words, when you get to this level in the physical universe, it's a world of pure chemistry. But chemistry is just frequencies of electromagnetic
Yes.
energy. When you leave your physical body, you're now in the world of energy. So you take on light bodies, not heavy chemical bodies. It's a big difference. This world is very chemical. And your remedy is also very chemical, but also very energetic.
Yes.
Both of those are hand in hand. So a lot of people say, I have no energy. Now, these are the easiest of cases, of course. I have no energy. I'm fatigued all the time, but I eat dead food. I cook my food. I kill all the chemistry and the energy out of it. I eat dead animals. I fill my body full of mucus with the milks, and I wonder why I'm sick.
Yeah.
And that's all acidosis and mucus congestion. And just what you said, you can bottom line everything to obstructions. And the biggest obstruction to the flow of energy in this universe is acidosis and the environment that creates.
And most people are
Dehydration.
constipated, right?
Very
There's no bigger
constipated.
obstruction than that.
All the way.
People understand that kind of obstruction.
That kind of obstruction.
Yeah.
But this constipation is within a system that very few of you were ever taught about, and that the medical doctors know very little about, yet all the cancers are in this system. And that's the lymphatic system.
Yes.
All the cancers are lymphomas. So what does that tell you? The lymphatic system is your body's sewer system. And medical doctors never studied sewage. We deal with sewage all the time because we go into the body and clean, which we call detoxification. We go in and clean and hydrate. We remove these acids or proteins, all the mucus, and we rebuild tissue.
Yeah, so we let life and health come in. So what we're doing is actually not focusing on any type of disease or obstruction per se. We're focusing on building health.
Right.
And to have a clean, nice house, you have to take out the waste.
You have to take out the waste.
Yeah.
Like if you have heavy metal toxicity, how do you get remedy of that? You don't take a pharmaceutical to treat it. You have to detox it out of your body. This detoxification was done by nature back when animals, back when plants were first formed. All life goes through detoxification, even plants.
Yeah, nature is perfect.
Nature's
You cannot
perfect.
improve on it.
You can't.
That's when you get into trouble, when you try to improve
That's
on nature.
That's it. And you can't second guess this. Like in our world of chemistry, we don't even go along with nature's chemistry. Man has his own theories. And it's like theories. God already created the earth.
I know.
We're already living beings. Plants are, but we're lost in our minds intellectualism. You have to be careful with too much intellectualism because you'll get lost.
To the point where fruit is not good for you.
To the point where simple fruit,
Yeah.
which is what frugivores, in them as Homo sapiens and primates, that's their central food, our central food, and yet people are scared of fruits.
Yeah.
That's scary when you're scared of fruits and you'll go to a dead animal meat, which you have no idea eating a dead animal, what that does to you inside of your body, rips your calcium out of your body, acidifies the body, putrefies, gives you body odor. You don't have body odor when you're a raw foodist, when you
I
eat
know.
your fresh food.
Just think about what it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
if you see a monkey eating a banana, you're not going to look at the monkey thinking, oh, food.
Yeah, exactly.
You look at the banana saying, food.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's a good point.
If you look at cow, if you see a cow, you don't get hungry.
You know, the sad thing about this, and this is a sad thing, and it's interesting you bring this up because the other day I was somewhere and there was this cattle and there was this young kid, and I'm looking at that and I said, "You don't see those as food, do you?" And he goes, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that young man saying, I was raised farming, and I never looked at our farm animals as meat. I never did. I looked at them as friends.
Most humans do.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
If you start realizing you don't have to kill your food to eat it, that's a big hurdle to overcome because people are so steeped in killing their foods and cooking their foods that.
But they still have to cook it and spice it and everything, and then they say that it tastes so good.
Yeah. Well, try this.
Yeah.
Try having just a piece of steak or chicken or something like that with nothing on it. Just raw. That's how you're supposed to eat meat, is raw.
Yeah.
Just eat it raw. And that's your most electrical and chemical.
Yeah. Any cooking is very unnatural. And
Very
still
unnatural.
out there's information saying that raw food is not good for you or that you need cooked food. Like cooking anything would add anything to it.
I know, it's ridiculous thinking, but macrobiotics kind of got into that because vegetables are hard for humans to digest because wrong food for humans. That's herbivore food.
Yep.
Horses, cows,
You
elephants.
can have a little
right?
bit of the tender leafy greens,
Exactly.
herbs, You
Yeah,
pick,
the
you know, the fresh.
cucumbers. You can
Yeah,
have the
they're
veggie
but they're
fruits.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
could, and
Yeah.
that's
Dandelions.
what I do.
You know,
Yeah,
you can eat a little bit of
good.
that.
And
Yeah.
flowers. You can eat the flowers.
Hmm.
But when you get into these heavy greens, these are very hard to digest.
Yes.
So look at the design of a herbivore, which say a cow or a horse, and they're grinders. We don't have teeth like them. We don't have hooves. We don't have a GI tract that long. We don't have multiple stomachs in
Nope.
our body. We have nothing to show that we can break up
No.
vegetable matter. Now, if you're pretty healthy, you can digest it pretty good, but the average person poops vegetable matter out their back end. They just don't digest it well.
And we're pickers. We have hands to pick.
We have hands to pick.
Yep.
We don't have anything aggressive that shows that we can rip something apart and kill it, nor do we have the consciousness. I mean, you do have low end consciousness in the humans, but we have to work that out.
That's an obstruction.
That's an obstruction.
I think it's an obstruction.
It is an obstruction to the
Yeah.
flow of the human
Yes.
consciousness.
Yes.
Human state.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, what can people do today when they are searching for helpers? I'm one of those that you have educated. So, what have you taught these detox specialists that they call themselves, that we call ourselves out there? What can they help with?
Well,
What have you taught them?
we tend to be raised in America. Now, this, of course, around the world. We deal all around the world.
Sadly,
everywhere.
it's the same everywhere.
But the medical is, pretty much
Yeah,
got the
pretty
same
much.
kind of thinking
yeah.
everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll just say that one has to kind of look around and see how sick man is, and that he's been using medical thinking for how long, and the death rate that's taking place under that level of thinking.
Yeah.
So I discovered how simple wellness is. And so I developed a school 25 years ago, maybe, or 30 years ago.
And it's a great school.
It's
Everybody should come, really.
yeah, I do. I have lay people.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
medical. I have chiropractic.
All
massage,
ages.
all ages, all
Yeah.
the time. But it's simply learning the simplicity of being and getting well, and how easy it is. And I can teach anybody how to take anyone from any state of decay, of mutation, of any way, and rebuild them completely.
True
and you're
freedom.
a good example. Exactly. And so many of you guys are proving that. We were looking at Jermaine's eyes today, and it's just more aggressive changes. She has no more nerve rings.
Yeah, perfect.
She has all her genetic weaknesses are disappearing.
Right.
So and yours is doing the same thing too. I mean, you guys are right down into regeneration of tissue, and that's what we're at today, because you have to start and understand.
We're rewriting the genes.
We rewrite.
people.
You have to,
Yeah.
because the genetic weaknesses of the human cell right now is at the so low that kids are being mutated constantly coming out. Matter of fact, you're seeing children. We're getting calls with children that were born with cancer cells in them.
Yes.
That means that the parent cell was already
Yes.
atypical,
Of
and
course.
did that little acidosis for 9 months, threw it right over. See.
Yeah. Well, we know this on one level. Everybody knows this.
Yes.
I mean, what happens when a drug addict gives birth to a child?
That's true.
You know?
There you go.
We have an addict.
There you go.
It has
There
to
you
go on detox.
There you go. But what they haven't thought about in what she's saying, diet does the same thing.
Of course.
You just talked about drugs. It's also about wrong eating. Wrong eating does the same thing as taking drugs.
Yeah.
And now you have to go into the body, clean out all these acids and mucus,
Yeah.
which causes inflammation. And then, of course, the damage to the cell, which is then called cancer, or whatever medical doctors call damaged cells.
And
then-
when I went to school when I was young, there was no asthma. There was no asthma. There was no diabetes too, among children.
Yep.
So it's escalating.
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like crazy.
Each generation getting weaker.
Weaker and weaker and weaker.
Yeah.
Matter of fact,
Yeah.
we watch the kidneys and the adrenals in the children, and they're so down. Digestively, they're so down. They have the new Nitin procedure where the babies, of course, humans are not designed for high protein and high lipid or fat
No.
diets. That's a big no-no for humans. For any animal, actually, can't handle. Even bears can't handle high protein diets. If you give your dog a high protein diet, he'll get rectal bleeding. You have to be real careful about proteins. We have a society that pushes them, but that's because they're local.
Yeah. And people don't understand what protein is.
Yes,
They
that's
think
true.
you have to take a muscle from an animal and that is protein.
Yeah.
They don't get that proteins are amino
Amino acids.
acids. And that animal that you're eating the muscle from had to get it from the same
amino-
source.
Exactly.
From the cow. It ate
Exactly.
grass.
Exactly.
So you're
Exactly.
eating And then you think you eat that muscle, and that's something you need.
Yeah.
Your body has to rip it apart,
Yeah.
find the amino acids, and all that waste
And acids.
goes right to the kidneys. I mean, all that metabolic waste from
If it
getting
can
to
make
those,
it there.
if it can make it
If
there.
it can make it there, because what you said about
Yeah.
obstructions means that the lymph system is obstructed in most people. Therefore, waste don't get to the kidneys.
Yeah.
Or if they do, most people lost kidney filtration.
Yes.
So now what? Everybody is getting acidosis. Acidosis, there's only two sides of chemistry. Remember this, there's only two sides of chemistry. You're either acidic or alkaline. When you have a symptom, you can, from a chemical viewpoint, say, what side of chemistry am I on right now? So when you feel pain, you feel stiff and tight, that's all acidosis.
Yeah.
And then from that leads you into extreme pain, your arthritises. It leads you into the decay of the cell, then into your cancers, then into forming tumors and stuff like this.
Depression, anxiety.
Oh, the whole 9 yards. Everything. Everything you can imagine. Medical doctors like to refer these to diseases and treat them with pharmaceuticals, which is a costly and oftentimes deadly procedure for the patient.
And nobody gets well.
And no one gets well.
No one gets well.
No one gets
they
well.
keep coming back for more.
And that's amazing to me that they do.
It is.
Once you go to a doctor and you can't get well and you've been on their drugs or whatever you're on and you don't feel better in a short order, why do you stay that way? Well, out of fear.
Yeah.
And this is a big thing, and you lost your fear, and so did a lot of the YouTubers have lost their fear, and they drove right into it, and look at the benefits you all are getting. You're simply reversing how you created the problem.
Yes.
Well, the problem is most of you don't realize that you're creating this problem yourself. You just weren't told how and why. We live in a world about finances. So we have the Dairymen's Association, the Cattlemen's Association, and you're not going to hear anything but this is good food from them.
Yeah. And I love this about you created it yourself, because a lot of people would be defensive about that because then they feel blame. I feel empowerment.
Yeah,
Can you imagine you made this?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
means you can unmake it.
That's it.
That means you have
Good
the
point.
power.
Good point.
That is the greatest
Good
point.
point.
And what this good man, Dr. Morse, told me most of all is the simplicity behind this. There is simplicity because there really is no disease. It is all the same thing. But at the same time, there is an art of detoxification, meaning that having a good hand to guide you going through this, because there's a lot of information on the internet and it can be very confusing. For someone to work with you and to be able to spot your weaknesses and to make this journey easier and to rebuild your self power, kind of to be, you know, an empowering friend is very important.
It is. And, you know, this might sound a little bold, but I will put all you class grads against any medical doctor, against any chiropractor, any naturopath out there in your ability to heal people.
Oh,
I'll tell you right now.
the big words.
Go out there, but you go look. Look at what Shane's doing. Look at what some of you guys are doing
I
with
see
others.
amazing changes in people.
Let me tell you, what you guys are doing, medical doctors only dream of being able to do. Naturopaths are only dreaming because they are now falling into the same medical thinking of high proteins and bullcrap. You guys know what's happening, how to fix people, how to run them through detoxification, how to work them through that. You know how to explain their problems. You know how to tell them just what's going on with them, and I'm real proud of every one of you.
Oh, thank
You
you.
guys know the truth. You know the chemistry a little bit. You know the physics of things. And it's just like, it's amazing.
And we're going after true health,
You
which
are.
is true freedom. That is true freedom.
That is true freedom.
You
Total
cannot
freedom.
feel free in a diseased body. Anybody been there knows that.
Yep.
So that's what we're going after right now.
Yeah, and
You
if
know?
you're spiritual and you like out-of-body traveler or you like to expand your consciousness and things like that, you're on the
I know, and it's hard to separate, isn't it?
You can't.
You can't. You can start
can't.
on either
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
I
You
say,
can
always
start
say
at
that.
either end.
It's spiritual. Well, it is. Start with the fruits. See what happens.
Exactly.
You know?
It's funny because
Yeah.
you can't. You're into God. You're
Yes.
eating the nectar that God
Once the
made.
obstructions
Call it
goes,
nature.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Then those obstruction goes as well.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing.
So
You'll tap. I said this before. Now Jermaine's feeling more energy than she has in a long time, and she even's looking at that.
Yeah.
You're looking more energetic, and I'm looking at some. And now we're getting people like our friend here, Ian, who started out very thin, malabsorbed, and now he's a trainer, he's a fitness buff, he's an incredible dude, and it's just showing you he ran himself through detoxification, we ran him through that, we fixed his malabsorption, now he's absorbing his nutrients, he's getting his amino acids from his vegetables. See the vegetables, and now he is major.
But where does he get his protein?
Oh my God! Again, and she brings up an excellent point. Get rid of the word protein, and
Yeah.
you'll be happy ever after. And I'll give you this challenge.
You can never eat protein really because the body is who makes the
Exactly.
protein.
Well, I'll give you this challenge. 2 weeks, raw foods.
Yeah.
Raw foods for 2 weeks.
Mostly
Then-
fruit.
Just for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? And then go out and get yourself a meal of meat and potatoes and then see how
Ouch.
you feel.
That'll hurt.
Just 2 weeks. Go
Yeah.
2 weeks on fruits and veggies and melons
Berries.
and berries.
Yes.
Just for 2 weeks. That's all you eat. Eat all you want. Eat all you want, as much as you want, but that's all you're eating out of your produce section. And then go out and have your normal meal of steak and potatoes or whatever, and you tell me how you feel.
Yeah.
You'll begin to see your body will go, oh, I love it. Oh, I'm feeling so good. And then wham! You have to be real careful.
I think the real challenge here is not that people don't know, they know this, but why is it so hard for so many to let go of that old programming, that taste, that addiction, because it is an addiction.
It is.
Cheeses,
Well,
they're terrible. It's like,
everything's addicting here.
Yeah.
When
but people are addicted. It's like they,
Yeah. It's, you know what? I call it one thing, and I've been on the video for a lot of years talking
Yes, you
about
have.
this, called the mind.
yes.
The mind is very your mind is trainable. Governments know this. A lot of people know that if they train your mind right, they own you. So you have to watch your mind. Now that sounds weird, but one holy man came up to me one day and he said, if you stop thinking and you stop talking, there's nothing you won't know.
Yes.
In other words, quit chasing your mind of thoughts. Stop thinking and you'll see everything, because your awareness is what creates the mind. So consciousness is simply pure awareness. So stop thinking. Spend a day just watching things. Don't think. When a thought comes in, stop it and just spend a day watching, observing life around you and how you interact. Stop chasing thoughts, and you'll be surprised how big you start to see yourself and how much truth starts pouring in, because you now have closed the door to thoughts, which you have to follow your thoughts in your attention, and now your attention is totally in ability to see 360 degrees around you.
And
It's
like a very,
amazing.
very wise man said to me, he said, every thought is an obstruction.
Every thought is get that.
You said that. You
I
said
know.
that. You said that.
I know. And it's true. Though.
Okay,
It is.
but-
How about emotions? That's also
Emotions,
obstructive.
very
At
interesting.
some level or another, they're obstructive. Absolutely.
Okay. We have to say bye for now.
Okay.
Thank you for watching. Have a nice
Bye-bye.
day.
Have a
Bye-bye.
nice day.